Hello, friends. Sorry I can't be there today. I wanted to quickly go through the elasticity of demand so we can keep this ball rolling, especially with the prospect of missing a day or two the remainder of this week. So let's dive right in. This portion, we're going to be talking about the elasticity of demand. Elasticity simply means the sensitivity of good or service to a change in price, right? So if let me give you an example. Let's say gasoline goes from a $1.75 per gallon to $4 per gallon overnight. What's going to happen to the amount of gasoline consumed? Well, you might have a slight decrease in gasoline consumed. You might have it decrease today, but on a longer timeline, on the course of a month or a year, it's probably not going to change all that much. You might have a couple of people who are like, well, I'm going to go ahead and buy a bicycle and ride to work because it's just too expensive for gasoline. So you might see a slight decrease in the amount of gas consumed, but for the most part, it's going to be pretty stable, right? Gasoline is very insensitive to a change in price because we need it. Doesn't matter how expensive gasoline gets, we don't have a close substitute. I can't, pour corn syrup in the gas tank and hope to get to work, right? So I need it. And so no matter what happens with the price, I still have to buy it. And we have other goods that fall in this category, like milk is notorious for this, and bread, things that generally people eat as a staple food every single week. No matter what change happens to that price, we end up still buying it, even though we might be mad about it. On the flip side, we have things that are highly elastic or highly sensitive to a change in price. For like Twinkies, let's use the same example of change in price. Twinkies go from $1.75 a box to $4 a box. What's going to happen to the quantity of Twinkies consumed? And the answer is a whole lot, right? We're probably going to see a dramatic decrease in the amount of Twinkies being consumed, mainly because there's so many substitutes, right? I can decide on a myriad of different things. I can get Hostess cupcakes, I can get Swiss rolls, I can get Nutter Butters, I can get Star Crunch. There's a million things that I can get that satisfy a similar need or want of fatty, sugary goodness, but in a different way, a different capacity. So Twinkies are more expensive, but so I might as well just buy all these other things. So that makes it highly sensitive to a change in price. And so elasticity has a lot to do with sales, whether or not we put something on sale. You never see gasoline for sale, for example, because why charge less when people buy the same amount? Might as well charge more. But you'll see Twinkie sales all the time, right? A decrease in the price of something could dramatically increase the quantity that's consumed, and your total revenue could rise. All right, so let's dive in a little deeper. When we talk about elasticity, we're really talking about the law of demand, which when prices rise, the quantity demanded falls. But now we ask, how much? How much does it fall? If it's highly elastic, if something is very elastic, then a slight change in price or slight increase in price could result in a dramatic decrease in the quantity consumed or quantity demanded, and vice versa, right? If prices fall, you could see a dramatic increase in the quantity demanded, right? On the flip side, if prices are falling and we have inelastic demand, then we're not going to see much of an increase in quantity demanded. And if prices rise, we're not going to see that much of a decrease in quantity demand. It's going to be relatively stable, that demand is very insensitive to a change in price. In other words, what we're really looking at is how responsive consumers are to price changes, right? So an easy way to kind of conceptualize this is think about the things that are always on sale, right? That we look for and we say, oh, this is going to go on sale soon. Those goods and services are things where our market has proven people like you and me are sensitive to price changes. When price goes up, we're likely to sub it out. When price goes down, we're likely to buy more, right? Those things have a lot of sales. And then think of things that never go on sale, that you'll never see a sale for, right? In fact, saying there's a sale on it is like kind of ridiculous. Those things tend to be more inelastic, things that are not sensitive to change that we don't respond to. You increase the price, we buy the same amount. Decrease the price, we buy the same amount, right? Because it's based on a need or a lifestyle or something of that nature. Okay, here's a graphic illustration of it, a beautiful cartoon from like 1982. But I thought it's prudent, right? It makes sense. So here we have milk was 80 cents, and look at her getting it with like the little motion lines. And then milk went up to $2.40. Yipes. right? But she still needs it. She's not happy. Look at her frown and sweat pouring off her head. Like it's rough, even kicking up a couple clouds of dust here. But because it's inelastic, hey, even if the price goes up, I still buy the same quantity as I bought before, which apparently is 4 half gallons. Um, so that's inelastic demand. Let's look at this a little more closely. So, inelastic demand means that quantity demanded is insensitive to a change in price. And this manifests itself graphically as a very steep curve, as we can see here, right? Where a very slight change in price goes from P to PT, like a slight increase in price, is followed by even smaller change in quantity, right? Price went up, but quantity only fell a little bit, Q to QT, right? So the percent change in price is greater than the percent change in quantity, right? So when prices rise, there's a small decrease in the quantity demanded. When prices fall, there's a small increase. The law of demand still applies. It's just slight, very little that's going on. And the reason being is people keep buying the same amount no matter what the price is, right? That's the trend. And so things that fall under this category are gasoline, milk, diapers, right? You don't buy diapers based on how many you want. You buy diapers based on how many times your child goes poopy. Medical care, right? You aren't looking for a sale on medical care. You're not like, okay, broke my arm, but I heard that the ambulance is going to be half price on Thursday. No, you go to the hospital now and you pay the bill. Toilet paper, obvious reasons why you continue to buy toilet paper regardless of the price. So that's inelastic demand. Changes in price are unlikely to see a dramatic change in quantity. Okay, let's keep going. Couple characteristics, the reasons that they're this way. First is there are few substitutes, right? Price goes up. I can't just go out and buy something else that does the same thing. We talked about that with gasoline. There are more and more substitutes for milk, right? You got like soy milk and almond milk, but a lot of people still don't see those as a legitimate substitute for milk. Second reason things are inelastic is because they could be a necessity, right? Something that you absolutely need, like medical care we're talking about. You know, if you have appendicitis, you need that medical care right away in order to stay alive, right? It's a necessity. It's not a matter of looking for a deal. It's a small portion of your income, meaning it's very inexpensive. So, you know, if I don't know, juicy fruit, bubblegum, on sale from 25 cents to 20 cents a pack, that's not going to dramatically impact the amount of juicy fruit you buy. It was already a small portion of your income to begin with. Slightly smaller doesn't change it all that much. All right, and then the final one is it's required now. I can't wait. That's like gasoline. I have to buy it now because I have to get home. I can't just keep on waiting because eventually I'll be stuck on the side of the highway. And then we have something, a little bit of math for you guys. I know you're waiting for that first math equation in microeconomics. Here it is. Percent change in quantity over the percent change in price. That's your elasticity coefficient. We know something is inelastic if it's less than 1. So we take that over here, we see that slight change in quantities, 5% change. It doesn't matter if it's positive or negative for this one. 5% change, pop that in the top, 5%. Over 20% change in price, we pop that at the bottom. 5% over 20% is going to be a 0.25. So less than 1, it means it's inelastic. Now this one we can see and look at it and say, yeah, it's inelastic. It's very steep. In fact, the steeper it gets, the more of an eye it makes, you know? So inelastic, there's an eye there. But some of these are not that obvious. So you need to calculate it. What's the percent change? Pop those in, quantity over price every time, quantity over price, and that will give you your coefficient. If it's less than 1, then it is inelastic. All right, let's keep going. On the elastic side of things, a slight change in price causes a dramatic change in the quantity demanded. So here we got this cool guy with his glasses getting his cola for $1 a piece, has 4 colas in his hand, loves his cola, right? Very excited. Good price, he says. And then it goes up to $3 and he does a little flip and a turn and a wave of his hand. Forget it, right? He doesn't need it. He has a substitute. He can buy other things that satisfy in a similar way. So he's not going to buy it at that higher price. Okay, so for elastic demand, quantity demanded is sensitive to a change in price. It's a very flat curve, right? It's sensitive. A slight change in price can result in a dramatic change in quantity. So it looks like this, a very flat kind of demand curve there. And we see that price went up by 10%, very slight amount, but quantity decreased by a larger amount, by 15%. This is elastic, right? A slight increase in your bus fare can result in a pretty dramatic decrease in the amount of people taking the bus because they have other substitutes. They can ride a bike, they can walk, they can drive a car, they can get an Uber or a Lyft or whatever. Many, many substitutes that they can do. And the opposite is true. A decrease in price can result in a large increase in quantity demanded. That's why so often we see elastic goods on sale because they decrease the price a little bit, have a dramatic increase in quantity, and then make more revenue as a result. And the reason being, people are changing their buying tendencies according to the price. We're shopping for deals on these types of items. For example, pop, we just talked about that. Boats, if boats go on sale, people buy a lot more boats. Can't tell you how many boats I've bought on sale. Um, that's a lie. I don't have any boats. Beef, go to the beef counter. Beef's on sale. People tend to buy a lot more beef. But if it's not on sale, there are many other things I can buy, like chicken, for example. Real estate, houses are never going on sale, right? But we're always looking for a deal on those. Always shopping deals for real estate. Right. And because such a large portion of your income is such a big commitment, a slight change in price can make a big difference for us. Pizza is delicious, but also when things are on sale, when pizza's on sale, people tend to buy more pizza. Again, here are some of the characteristics we've alluded to. First, there are many substitutes. I can buy this, but if the price goes up, I might as well get something else that's cheaper and satisfies my utility in a similar way. It's a luxury item. It's not something that I need, right? It's just a little something extra. So when it's on sale, I'm more likely to live large and treat myself. If it's a large portion of your income, it's highly elastic, right? A slight percent change in the price can mean a dramatic impact on your monthly bills, like on a house or a boat or something like that. Or if you just have plenty of time to decide, I don't need it now, I might as well wait until I have the best possible deal, and then I'll purchase it. Again, we have our elasticity coefficient here, percent change in quantity over percent change in price. This is always going to give us a coefficient greater than 1. That should make some sense because the percent change in quantity is going to be larger because it's more sensitive to the price. It's going to be larger than the price. So here we have price going up by 10%, quantity going down by 15%. So 15 divided by 10, I don't know exactly what that is. I think it's 1.5, but it's greater than 1. Right? As long as it's greater than 1, we know our elasticity coefficient. And we know it's elastic. It's sensitive to a change in price. Okay, a couple more examples here. From our real world, beef is elastic. It's got a 1.27 elastic coefficient, meaning the percent change in quantity is larger than the percent change in price. Gasoline is highly inelastic, 0.20. That's very inelastic because no substitutes. We've talked about that one. Real estate, super elastic, 1.6. It's one of our higher elasticities because it's something you have a long time to decide, right? Most people have a shelter of some sort. They can rent, and it's a huge portion of your income, so it's a really big deal. Medical care, highly inelastic. Interesting that people are more likely to buy gasoline when prices are up than medical care. Yikes, that's dangerous, but I think that's part of the fact that it's some people put it off because of insurance. Electricity, highly inelastic. One of the most inelastic things. No matter what the price is, you pay because being without electricity is really, really bad. And then gold is highly elastic, 2.6. That's incredibly high. It's the most elastic thing in our world right now because who needs gold? Nobody. Who wants gold? I guess everybody. But it's highly luxurious. It's not needed. It's expensive. You can put it off. All of those things. It's not something that is going to, no matter what change in price happens, you're still going to buy the same amount of gold. Gold's very cheap. People are going to buy more gold. It's highly, highly elastic. Okay, we have other elasticities. The other elasticities are unit elastic. This is when the price of a good changes, there's an equal percent change in quantity. In other words, a percent change in quantity is equal to the percent change in price. So quantity over price, if it's the same number, if it's 30% change in price, results in a 30% change in quantity. then my coefficient is going to be 1, and we are unit elastic. We are neither elastic or inelastic, or right in between. Perfectly elastic is horizontal, and this is when the price changes. There's an infinite change in quantity. This is a fixed price, right? A price ceiling is perfectly elastic because it's law. You have to pay that price. You have to charge that price. Any change outside of that is not going to happen. It's infinite change in quantity because it just doesn't exist. And then perfectly inelastic is when people will buy the same amount no matter what change in price happens, right? In other words, there's no change or a fixed quantity that is purchased. And so the coefficient will be 0. A percent change in price will be equal to a 0% change in quantity. So 0 over whatever the percent change in price is always going to give you a coefficient of 0. So perfectly inelastic looks like an I. Perfectly elastic almost looks like an E, bottom half of an E, right? And then the unit elastic is, of course, a 45-degree angle. All right. There you go. That's everything you need to know right there. One little chart. Perfectly inelastic is vertical, coefficient is 0. Relatively inelastic is a steep peak, and the coefficient is less than 1. Unelastic, 45-degree angle. Relatively elastic is less than 1 coefficient and is a pretty flat curve. And then perfectly elastic makes half of an E and has an infinity for a coefficient. All right, I hope that made some sense. Now the sub is going to hand out STAD 10.2 to you, and you can start working in your groups and then finish your multiple choice questions on that. All right, thanks so much. Have a great day. See you tomorrow, or maybe not, just depending on how the weather turns out. Take care. Bye.